In this video, we're going to look at the derivatives of the inverse trig functions. Now we know how to find the derivatives of inverse functions. We know how to find the derivative of trig functions. We're putting them together. So for each trigonometric function, there's an inverse function defined on a part of its domain. We can now take the derivative of these inverse functions. So let's take the derivative of arc sine of x, which is sine inverse of x. So how are we going to do that? So y equals sine inverse of x. Its derivative is 1 over the derivative of its inverse's derivative. Which the derivative of, the inverse of sine, inverse of inverse sine is sine, and its derivative is cosine. What am I doing here? I think this is all just proving to me that this is useless. Let's just move on. Here's the derivatives. I don't know what happened in my brain when I was trying to do that, but I don't think it's even worth it. If you do some SOHCAHTOA and stuff, you get these denominators that are on here. But you're not going to do that on the AP test. You're just going to memorize these. So let's just memorize these. They're not the nicest looking things in the world, but there's one nice thing. Every pair, the non-cos are positive, and the cos are just the exact same thing with the negative sign. So really, you're just memorizing these left three. All right. Most common mistakes is forgetting or accidentally putting a square root in tangent because it's the only one without a square root. Another mistake is kind of flipping the negatives for these ones. So there are little things you have to be super careful with. But again, if you just make flashcards and remember these, you'll be fine. And then all the cos, the exact same thing. I just put a negative sign in front of the one for all of them. All right, so derivative of arc sine of 5x. All right, so its derivative, let's not do it in yellow. All right, its derivative, it's a chain rule problem because there's parentheses. So the first thing I do is derivative of arc sine, which is 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. So it's going to be 1 over the square root of 1 minus, not x squared, whatever's on the inside squared, so 5x squared. All right, that's the derivative of the arc sine part, just keeping the inside the same. And I multiply that by the derivative of the inside. The derivative of 5x is 5. So my final answer is 5 over the square root of 1 minus 25 x squared. Again, just applying the chain rule to that page. Again, you don't have them memorized yet, so we'll keep referring to that slide. But as long as you're putting things in the right place, you're good. All right, the derivative of tan inverse of x squared. Another chain rule. Again, we have parentheses, so we need to figure out what the derivative of the tan inverse part is first. Let's go back to that slide. Derivative of tan inverse is 1 over 1 plus x squared. All right, so my derivative, 1 over 1 plus x squared. X is the inside, so x squared squared. And then I multiply that by the derivative of the inside, which is 2x. My final answer, 2x is going to go on the top, 1 plus x to the 4th on the bottom. Then this is the same thing as the derivative of just tan inverse, except for this is where the x was. I'm just replacing the x with the thing that's on the inside, x squared. All right, here's one for you to try on your own, the derivative of arc cosine of x. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and do this one, or try this one on your own. I'll show you the answer in 3, 2, 1. And I'm just going to write out the answer live. All right, bring down the 5. Because that's the thing on the outside. Multiply the derivative of arc cosine. There's a co, so I know it's negative. And then it's the same thing as sine of x, which we saw again. Sine of x has that square root on the bottom. Same thing with the negative. All right, so summary. All right, there's 3 non-co-inverse trig functions to memorize. Just remember arc sine, arc tangent, arc secant. And then the cos, once I do arc cosine, arc cotangent, arc cosecant, I just put a -1 on the top instead of a positive 1. So these are just a video where I'm just telling you to memorize 3 kind of 6 things.